Welcome, baby. Oh, I'm here on the planet. Welcome to it. It's a late show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. And don't you forget it. Woo! Woo! It's that or go to sleep. Two choices. And I want to be here for you. So nice to see you again. You know, folks, it was not easy. We made it through the final day of the Democrats' case against the ex-president. And today I didn't cry. Yet. Saving that for a bedtime treat. And I'll tell you all about their closing argument in my unfortunately still ongoing but soon-to-be-gone segment, Don and the Giant Impeach 2. Go fast, we're furious.
I am a tremendous embarrassment to our country. The last 4 years were a tragedy. Ooh. Oh. This is sort of doing it for me. Oh. Oh. I love you. Yeah. Yucky. You're going to get $130,000. Weirdo.
I'm going to miss that a little. As the day was largely summary by the House managers, there was a lot of evidence, but there was also a lot of appealing to a common sense of humanity. For instance, California Congressman Ted Lieu pointed out just how callous the former president was in the days following the attack.
We're all aware that a violent mob murdered a police officer. It took President Trump 3 days before he lowered the flag of the United States of America. 3 days. And President Trump, who was commander-in-chief at the time, did not attend and pay respects to the officer who lay in state in the very building that he died defending.
Wouldn't pay his respects. So I guess all of his Blue Lives Matter talk was just about the Smurfs? Congressman Lieu then spelled out the very real consequences of acquitting number 45.
You know, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump running again in 4 years. I'm afraid he's going to run again and lose, because he can do this again.
Yeah, I'm not really afraid of him running either. I'm really afraid of him shambling down a ramp while his deranged goons go podium shopping. Then it was time for Colorado representative and author of the self-help book your mom just read, Diana DeGette. DeGette stressed the real purpose of this trial.
Impeachment is not to punish, but to prevent. We are not here to punish Donald Trump. We are here to prevent the seeds of hatred that he planted from bearing any more fruit.
Though based on his diet, I'm pretty confident the last thing he wants is more fruit. It's less seeds and more KF seeds. Lead House Manager Jamie Raskin explained the president's riot squad was nothing new. Something similar happened months before January 6th, when a mob overtook the Michigan Capitol.
This Trump-inspired mob may indeed look familiar to you. Confederate battle flags, MAGA hats, weapons, camo army gear, just like the insurrectionists who showed up and invaded this chamber on January 6th.
Prompting Us Weekly to ask, who treasoned it better? Then Joaquin Castro reminded the jurors that democracy takes work.
The world is watching and wondering whether we are who we say we are. We must stand up for the rule of law, because the rule of law doesn't just stand up by itself.
That's right. Democracy is fragile. It needs help to stand, like a baby deer or a Super Bowl quarterback. More on that later and earlier. Raskin evoked a conservative icon of the Supreme Court to prove that the former president can't use the First Amendment as an excuse.
Justice Scalia got it exactly right on this. He wrote on these cases about how the First Amendment affects people who take on a public office, who take on public employment. And he summed it up like this. He said, you can't ride with the cops, but root for the robbers.
A good analogy, but let me put that in terms the former president can understand. You can't ride with Ronald McDonald and root for the Hamburglar. Later, Raskin posed a question directly to the defense.
I'll add a legal question that I hope his distinguished counsel will address. If a president did invite a violent insurrection against our government, as of course we allege and think we've proven in this case, but just in general, if a president incited a violent insurrection against our government, would that be a high crime and misdemeanor?
Man, he actually had to ask that question. The bar has gotten that low. And someone should pick it up quick before some MAGA bro uses it to beat a cop. And he closed with an appeal to the senators.
Our friends must work to answer all of the overwhelming, detailed, specific, factual, and documentary evidence we have introduced of the president's clear and overwhelming guilt in inciting violent insurrection against the Union.
Against the Union. Not only is Raskin powerfully evoking the Civil War, but he is making a clear reference to the fact that the former president has never tried to preserve a union. Congressman Neguse reminded everyone that the former president very clearly told us where his allegiances lay.
When they, the police, still barricaded and being attacked with poles, he said in his video to the people attacking them, "We love you. You're very special." What more could we possibly need to know about President Trump's state of mind?
Maybe how much all of this could have been avoided if his dad had ever hugged him? Neguse closed by saying this isn't just about what happened in January. It's about what might happen in the future.
We humbly ask you to convict President Trump for the crime for which he is overwhelmingly guilty of. Because if you don't, if we pretend this didn't happen, or worse, if we let it go unanswered, who's to say it won't happen again?
If we don't hold him to account, it will happen again. It did happen again. Because this is how Adam Schiff closed out the last impeachment.
You can't trust this president to do the right thing, not for 1 minute. He has betrayed our national security, and he will do so again. He has compromised our elections, and he will do so again. You will not change him. You cannot constrain him. He is who he is.
Now, I take no pleasure from playing that old clip. I take no pleasure from playing Congressman Neguse's clip. And I will take no pleasure playing the clip next year when they're trying the ex-president for sending supporters to sack Disney World so he can move into Cinderella's castle and declare himself the emperor of Fantasyland. And the one thing all the House managers seem to have in common today, especially when they were closing, is they weren't grandstanding for their own ego. They were clearly, deeply, sincerely, desperately trying to make any human connection as fellow citizens to the Republican senators in that gallery and convince them to put country before party. So, doomed from the start, because after watching the horrific images and damning timeline from yesterday's presentation, Senate Republicans are doing exactly what they did on January 6th, running away from what they helped create. Take South Carolina Senator and Pillsbury Proud Boy, Lindsey Graham. After yesterday's session, Graham had this review.
I think most Republicans found the presentation by the House managers offensive and absurd.
That material was offensive and absurd. I heard swears. I saw the Q shaman's nipples. A gentleman would put on a pair of slacks and a polo shirt before pooping in the rotunda. Graham also hit the GOP's favorite new talking point. Maybe trying to murder Nancy Pelosi was all Nancy Pelosi's fault.
And here's what I want to know. What did Nancy Pelosi know, and when did she know it? If this was widely known by the FBI and Capitol Hill Police that people were planning to come to Washington before the 6th to create violence, I want to know, did she know about that?
And with this argument, Graham joins a pantheon of other Republicans trying to pin the Capitol riot on Speaker Pelosi. It's just good to know that the GOP has conducted their own investigation, and after close forensic reconstruction of all the events of that day, they have discovered there's a woman to blame. Another complete dumbass is Florida Senator and pet python watching a mouse drop into his terrarium, Rick Scott. Scott was one of the seditionist sympathizers who voted to throw out the election results on January 6th. And after viewing the explicit videos of the attack yesterday, Scott called the trial a complete waste of time. But he does believe there should be some consequences, saying, I hope everybody that came into the Capitol and did the wrong thing gets prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Okay, you heard the man. Somebody arrest Rick Scott. You might want to use one of those long poles and pin his head down first, and it'll wrap around your arm. Another lawmaker who blew off the proceedings was Missouri Senator and surfer saying, hang 10 Mike Pences. Josh Hawley. Last night, after the House manager's presentation, Hawley said this.
I think that there's nothing new here.
You're a juror. Evidence doesn't have to be new to be damning. Oh, they said it was an arson trial at the top of the damn thing. Why are they showing us all these pictures of burning buildings? Boring. Come on, give me one Baby Yoda up in this thing. Nobody's got claw. Where's Thanos? Wow. It's no surprise Hawley and other Republican senators weren't moved by yesterday's evidence. They weren't paying attention. In fact, Rand Paul was spotted tracing the watermark of the Capitol on a legal pad. Tim Scott appeared to read a magazine article. Cindy Hyde-Smith gazed at a 2021 calendar, and Rick Scott was studying what appeared to be a map of Southeast Asia. Huh. They got lots of Floridas over there. This one's called Mall Asia. I wonder what language their Mickey Mouse speaks. There's still plenty of heart-wrenching testimony to go, and you can only read so many calendars before they start to get repetitive. Luckily, there's a new product to help these Republicans tune it all out. Jim?
Today, even the most partisan senator can find it challenging to ignore damning testimony. Hello, I'm Bjorn Umlaut Mendelssohn, sound technician for Crapple. Introducing conscience-canceling headphones. The only headphones that cancel both ambient noise and your own sense of what's right. These are beautifully designed with an attractive mesh-stitched R for Republican. Here's how they work. The headphones use ultra-sensitive microphones to locate the tiny voice of reason in your head. They subdue it, whip it into submission until its butt is so shiny you can see your face in it. There is no safe word. And for our budget-conscious senators, try our more affordable earbud version. Blah, 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 blah. So pick up conscience-canceling headphones today and wallow in the sweet sounds of ignorance.
We got a great show for you tonight. My guest is country music superstar Blake Shelton, and I share the season's hottest Valentine's Day cards with my special guest, Stephen Colbert. But when we return, meanwhile, stick around.